Good morning. Yes, you may call it Coffee with Lombardi. I have a new article out. So this is going to be a quick video to get you started on this Wednesday. 49ers have a walkthrough today before they fly to Houston. But the title of the article is From Trey Sermon to Trey Lance, 49ers to watch in the final preseason game, of course, against the Texans. So that is in the description, the link to that article of this video. It's also, as I speak, being put into the chat section. So go ahead and check it out. And today I'm going to be giving you guys some preview content, probably from around the city. I've noticed that people like when I'm out and about and I talk some 49ers, give you guys some good food recommendations, maybe a couple nice views. I know most of you don't like to swim in the bay like me, but for those of you who do, you'll know all the good spots. So today, the preview information will be trickling in. It is the dress rehearsal tomorrow on Thursday. 49ers Texans. We'll see the starters play up to one half for the 49ers. And we'll also see Houston starters on the other side of the football. That's what Coach Lovie Smith said. He didn't specify how long we will see those starters. But both sides of the ball, the Texans and the 49ers, are going to be playing guys the way that they're going to plan to play them during the regular season. So that's going to make this, at least for 30 minutes, interesting. And I think it's going to be something to watch even beyond those first 30 minutes because there's guys fighting to make the final spot on a crowded roster. So my first point right underneath me, let's see Trey Sermon run behind the 49ers first team O-line. And you say, well, wait, Lombardi, Trey Sermon has been running behind the 49ers first team offensive line. He's been starting these games. And to that I say, well, has Trent Williams been in? No, Trent Williams hasn't been in. Have the 49ers been able to really show the cohesive front that they hope to show during the regular season? No, they haven't. And will they be able to show it on Thursday in 100% completeness? No, they won't because Mike McGlinchey won't be in there. But Trent Williams should play. You'll have Spencer Burford, his third game in there at right guard. You'll have, maybe we'll see some Jason Poe working with the first team, but you'll have Aaron Banks, and then you'll have Jake Brendel at the center position. And Colton McKivitz, who hasn't been bad this offseason, he's actually made some strides, will be at right tackle. It's as good as the 49ers will be able to do on Thursday as far as the offensive line. And then we get to see, I don't only want to see Sermon. I mean, everybody's piling on Sermon. I don't know. I'm neutral here. I just want to see Sermon operate behind the first team offensive line if he's going to go against the first team defense. Let's see how he looks in that situation. And then let's see how the other running backs look in that situation. I think that's the benefit of a dress rehearsals, that you can mix and match the running backs behind the starting offensive line. So you could see who is who. And the 49ers are probably still trying to exactly figure that out because running backs are so hard to evaluate in practices where you're not tackling live to the ground. I then want to see Brock Purdy's case in the second half. Brock Purdy is probably going to get either the third or the fourth quarter. I don't know how they're going to divvy this up. Nate Sudfeld is clearly the 49ers quarterback 2 right now. Shanahan hasn't called that yet, but I think right now it's a question of, can the 49ers sneak Purdy through to the practice squad? Because they obviously want to keep a quarterback as poised and as accurate as him so far in the building. So if Purdy goes out and lights it up again, who cares if it's against third stringers? Does that mean that other teams are going to be like, oh boy, we want to take a shot on this guy. We want to put him on our 53-man roster. Now, obviously, the fact that it comes against third stringers is significant, right? It's something that adds an asterisk to the performance. It's something that, it's a qualifier. It's definitely a qualifier. But teams are going to just be, it's not like the running backs, right, who are breaking tackles, and it's a lot easier to break tackles against the third string. And that with the quarterbacks, you're looking more at the poise, the command of the game proceedings, and the accuracy. And I think you can isolate that a little bit easier from other variables. Now, obviously, the pass rush will mess everything up, but you're also playing behind an offensive line that's not all starters. So I think in the case of Brock Purdy, any snap that he takes right now is a bit of a showcase, right? The league is watching, and the league wants quarterbacks. I mean, you saw Nick Mullins just move away from the Raiders for a seventh-round pick. The Vikings traded a seventh-round pick. So if Mullins is worth something, there's a chance that Purdy will be as well, especially just a waiver claim. And right now, the league probably wants more intelligence on him. So we'll see if the 49ers can sneak him through the practice squad, if that is indeed the route that they try to go. But watching him in this game on Thursday is going to be significant because we'll see what he's putting on film for the rest of the league. All right, for this, the second wave defensive lineman, I talk about this a little bit in the article. I'm going to go to the big depth chart. All right, take a look right now. Let's make this stretch the screen. Let's go down to the D-line room. I'm highlighting it for you right there. How many of these guys can the 49ers carry on the 53? Throughout the offseason, I've been predicting 11, but now that I've watched a lot of camp and I've seen a couple preseason games and I see how stacked the 49ers are at so many other positions, it's tough for me to justify. So for the time being, I've Kerry Hyder on the outside looking in, which is crazy because he led the 49ers with 8.5 sacks 2 years ago. I am not confident in that prediction, but I do know that between Hyder, Kamoko Toure, and Hassan Ridgeway, there's a chance that one of those three guys doesn't make the team. Toure's been playing a ton of these preseason games, and the 49ers, I think, respect the hell out of that because he's a 5.5 sack guy last year. He's not the type of guy that on most teams would have to play the second half of preseason games. But, God, any one of these guys, removing any one of them would hurt because they're all valuable players. Toure and Hassan Ridgeway are the two vets the 49ers signed from the outside this year. Ridgeway, I think it was Tim Ryan that called him the fire hydrant with feet, which I thought was a good description for a defensive tackle. I mean, he bolsters the 49ers on the inside, and Kerry Hyder bolsters the 49ers everywhere. They've compared him to Ronald Blair, so that's why I'm not confident with Kerry Hyder on the outside looking in. I think that they want a guy like Ronald Blair on this team that can play outside, inside, that can do all the dirty work for you. So maybe they end up taking 11, and if they do, then you have many fewer questions. You're three on the outside looking in are Barrett, Spence, and Kevin Atkins, the Fresno State product. And you can take at least Atkins, probably Barrett on the practice squad. Spence is a veteran, so he might get an opportunity elsewhere. Barrett is too, but Barrett's been a practice squad guy here for the 49ers in the past. But with Kerry Hyder, I mean, there's no way you get him back on the practice squad. He's a starting NFL defensive lineman. And there might be a starting NFL defensive lineman that doesn't fit on this roster. So I'm going to watch how that rotation works on Thursday. All right. And finally, this is the big one. Lance. Let's get that article back up on the screen. Trey Lance. There's a reason he is the cover of the piece. We could talk about the preseason being proving grounds for young guys all we want. We can talk about Brock Purdy and back of the roster players to Sean Gibson, who the 49ers just signed at safety. We could talk about, all this kind of under the radar stuff. We could be football hipsters. We'll put it that way. We could, talk about the non-mainstream things, but at some point you got to get back to the mainstream things because mainstream is mainstream for a reason. And the most important position on the football field is quarterback. The player who is in that position for the 49ers is Trey Lance. And he's a very, very raw prospect. No matter how we cut it, the guy didn't throw a lot of passes in college, took a long layoff in between 2019 and now, in terms of being the number one guy, getting all the reps. And now the 49ers are giving him the crash course. They believe they have the team around him and that he has the talent and the mental makeup to evolve into the role appropriately. But it is the most important role in football, and he still has to evolve into it, and it is extremely difficult. So we're watching Trey Lance. Every single rep counts. Just yesterday, Kyle Shanahan said he wished he had more OTAs. He wished he had more training camp. He wished he had more preseason for Trey Lance. But at some point, the clock runs out and the regular season starts. And when the time to perform has come, the time to prepare has passed. Well, the time to perform is coming. And this is the last chance, this dress rehearsal, to really prepare. Now, with Trey, this is a stat that I've already cited. I'm going to write about this. I track all the practice stuff, right? First week of training camp, he was only completing 48% of his passes. Ever since then, it was close to 60. So the improvement has been tangible, but it hasn't been completely linear, right? It hasn't been linear at all. We've seen a little up and down. We've seen a roller coaster from Trey Lance. Now that showtime is coming, now that he'll actually get to work with that entire first team offensive line, now that we'll see some play installations against an opponent that the 49ers have game planned for, we're going to get a much firmer gauge than ever before of where Trey Lance is in his development. And if it's not quite up to par, well, the 49ers believe that they have the team surrounding Trey Lance to help shepherd him, to let him get there at some point over the course of this 2022 season, at least get to a point of competency. I think it's going to be up to par. I like what I've seen so far out of Trey Lance as far as pocket command, just feel. It's hard to find an adjective for it, but that field general presence, I've liked that so far. I have been less enthused about his accuracy issues. He's been inconsistent still in the short game, in practice, and in some of these preseason games. I mean, even in that game that we saw against the Packers, he threw high to Dwelly, and then he missed Danny Gray on the deep out. That's all stuff that needs to be addressed as far as playing quarterback at the NFL level on a down in and down out basis. And the 49ers hope that reps do address that. All right, quick 11-minute show this morning. Check out the article from Trey Sermon to Trey Lance, 5 49ers to watch in the final preseason game. There's going to be a lot more preview content coming throughout the course of the day from some cool spots. But make sure that you do subscribe to The Athletic. And, of course, like this video and sub to the channel. Everybody have a great day. It's Wednesday, hump day. Get over that hump. Move on into the end of the week because the game is tomorrow, 49ers Texans. Take care, everybody.